Hello everyone, I'm your Chinese teacher, YiMu. Today we will continue to learn Chinese Pinyin. Last class, we learned what Pinyin is. At the same time, we learned some initials and finals. Well, first of all, let's review them together. Move your tongue and your brain. Take out your fingers. Let's take a look at what these syllables we have learned look like when they are marked on the Chinese characters. If you still find it difficult to spell, we read the initial first, and then the finals, then distinguish the tone, and then spell it. Okay, let's start together. Because these have been studied in the last class, let's read them directly. If you have any doubts, you can pause the video and try to read it again. Okay, let's try to read this line directly. Of course, if you are not sure about your pronunciation or still find some hard to spell, you can send it to me through a private letter. Come on, everybody. Ba, 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 ba. You can use your finger, follow its tone, and make corresponding action to depend your memory. Let's continue. Pa, pa, pa. Next. Ma, 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 ma. Here, pay attention. For non-native Chinese learners, tone is very difficult because everyone should have seen it. Many foreign students who already speak Chinese fluently, their tone is a mess. Although it has less influence in communication. But how well do you speak Chinese? It depends on how well you learn the tone of Pinyin. Next, this content on the right. Please take out your fingers and join me like this. First, second, third, fourth. I use the mouse here. You use your finger. Come on with me. Fa, 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 fa. Da, de, ta, te. La, na, na, le. We must note that la and na have different initials. The initial l and n, if you still have problems with your pronunciation, then turn to the content of the last class and practice them a few times. For people in some parts of China, they are indistinguishable in their dialect. So it's still very difficult. Come on, everybody. Next is today's new content. First, the 6 initials, then 3 finals. Let's look at this initial first. Today's content is a little difficult. Come on, I'll read them first. Listen carefully and look at my mouth at the same time. Ge, ke, he, 鸡七西 Once again 歌科呵鸡七西 You should have found out. Here, the top 3 and the bottom 3 are different pronunciation parts. But the top 3 are the same, and the bottom 3 are the same. The first 3, 歌科呵 The next 3, 鸡七西 Here, if one of these sounds can find a feeling, then the other 2 sounds can refer to the pronunciation part of this one. Pay attention to the pronunciation of xi here. Some non-native students often confuse it. Remember it here. Next, 3 phonemes. These 3 phonemes are difficult to pronunciation for most people, especially the third one. Listen to me and pay attention to the shape of my mouth here. 一 u ü Once again. 一 u ü If you find the third one is very difficult, that's right. It's really difficult. Listen carefully and read it again. At the same time, you can follow it. 吁 ü Have any students found that we have some ways to read it? Let's take a look. First, listen to the first one and the third one. When you make the third sound here, you can use the first sound. Try it. 一 ü Let's start with the sound of E. Put your mouth together and round at this time. It is nature to make the third one. Try again. E. E. This is how to pronounce the third sound. Similarly, let's listen to the second one and the third one. U, ü, u, ü. You should also have found that when we pronounce the 2 words, the mouth shapes are the same and round. So, if you can't pronounce this sound, you can find its position from E or U. This phoneme must be practiced several times. This sound is the pain of all non-native Chinese learners. It's very difficult because you can't find similar to it in your native language. So come on, try again. 一 u ü Very good. Next, You can try to read these Chinese characters. Use the method we taught before. Initials, vowels, and terms. Then spell them. At this time, if there are students who learn faster, you can pause the video and try to read it yourself. Then I'll read it. You can follow and try. Don't forget your finger. Follow my mouse. 咕鼓顾咖可苦喝虎鹤 The pronunciation of these 9 words is relatively simple. Just practice more after our class. However, there is one point that needs to be emphasized here. Let's have a look. Notice the initial ji, qi, xi here. When they are spelled with yu, if we want to add a tone to it, is it add a tone directly? Of course not, because I specially marked it here. This is a special case. When ji, qi, xi is spelled with the final beginning with yu, you need to remove the 2 points above, like this. 居 曲 许 Of course, if you find it difficult to understand, don't worry. We will summarize these special rules in the last lesson of this series. At that time, you can listen carefully and experience it. So, how do you read this following? Let's try. 居 举 举 句 区 取 取 去 须 许 许 序 Question. Is this all wu? Yes, of course not. Because I just said that when ji, qi, xi and yu are combined, the above 2 points should be removed. Then someone will ask, why not wu? Because in Chinese Pinyin, ji, qi, xi, these 3 nations cannot be spelled with wu. That is, there is no such pronunciations. Ji wu, qi wu, xi wu. These are wrong. Then let's read them again. 居 举 举 句 区 取 取 去 须 许 许 序 Very good. Some students will ask if there is any special case. Of course. Pay attention to the Chinese Pinyin. Only n and l cannot remove the 2 points when they are combined with yu. Besides, 2 points should be removed in other cases. So if you find it difficult to understand, Just remember that you can't remove the 2 points after the n and l. So how should we read this? You can pause and try it yourself. Let's have a look. N, u, nu, nu, n, yu, nu, nu, l, u, lu, lu, l, yu, lü, lü. So here is completely different pronunciations. Next, follow me. We read it once again. 奴, 女, 鲁, 律. In these 2 classes, we learned what is Chinese Pinyin and the pronunciation of some initials, finals, and tones. In the next class, we will learn the derived compound finals and nasal finals according to the basic simple final we have learned. Although this seems to be a lot here with so much content, but the pronunciation of compound finals and the nasal finals are very simple. Their pronunciation method only need to slide from the first sound to the second sound. The method is like this. How to read it? Come and study with me in the next class. That's all for today's class. Thank you. I'll see you next class.